Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Shadow variant of the Walrein because people requested it, and I also made a poll on YouTube where I asked if I should run Lapras or Walrein, and it was 50-50 basically throughout the entire time where I looked at it. So yeah, I had to kind of decide. I actually did do one set prior with Lapras in a different team around it, and I went 0-5. So today we're going to take a look at my 12-3 run with this team, which is absolutely massive. So we're going to also have a longer video, as you can see here as well, with like around 20 minutes of time. If you enjoy these longer videos to see like teams that are really working well in like the full capacity, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Otherwise, you're going to have a team here that is pretty squishy, which is something that I like to play because I'm not really the biggest fan of just like outbulking the opponents the entire time. So what we're going to have here is we're going to have a team of the Annihilape in the lead, which is going to be able to completely destroy the opponent alone, which is hilarious. But you're going to have the Say-Sub of Feraligatr, as well as you're going to have in the back here the Walrein. Basically, before I try to use a team with a Lapras and Dugong as a basically in the backline there, and what I kind of felt like was that most Pokemon that they have in the back are quite decent against water and ice type Pokemon, so Dugong basically got hardwalled the entire time when I tried to use it, and so I decided to go ahead and go for the Feraligatr instead as a Say-Swap, because it's also going to be better against something like an Annihilape. Because when I also went like 0-5 before with a different team, like Annihilape was everywhere, and so I kind of want to be a little bit better against this Pokemon as well here. Feraligatr definitely helps out with that. Also, Annihilape in the lead right now, which you're going to have for ourselves, is going to be a Pokemon that is honestly so good right now, especially if you can hit like a Shadow Ball against a lot of Pokemon. You can just basically align yourself, which is really cool. We're going to have here the Azumarill, which is a little bit of a trickier Pokemon to deal with for us, but as you can see here, honestly, Walrein was really good. Like, Walrein was so strong. It seems like kind of basically like a worse version of Dugong in paper, but it's honestly like it feels completely different because you do just like a little bit more damage. You're going to charge up a little bit faster, but of course you're a little bit more squishy. Here we're going to go for a very risky play because I think an Earthquake doesn't knock out the opponent's Poliwrath. I decided to go for a bait here, hoping that they would use a shield. They decide to use a shield, and like this I can go for another Night Slash. And I think with the extra damage that I get from this one, I will be able to knock them out with a Shadow Earthquake. Earthquake got nerfed before, but now it's still going to be enough to knock them out. What a play this was as well. We can move on to the next opponent. So let's try to analyze this matchup here. We're going to have the Whiscash against us, which is honestly a fairly neutral one for us, but I decided to swap out instead into our Feraligatr because we have two water types in the back, so catching a Scald, why I think, yeah, we got debuffed here, which was not really as visible, I feel like. It's still going to be the better play for me to catch a Scald. I kind of need to keep my Elite alive because basically two water types in the back are kind of doing similar stuff, and so I'd rather keep my Annihilape alive and kind of try to use it like an ABB style line here, basically. That's kind of what I wanted to say with that. Here we're going to see the opponent is gonna still be able to go for a Mud Bomb. I will take it because now we have a Shadow Ball stored on our Annihilape. We don't have alignment, but maybe it still does not matter. We're going to see here the Gligar coming in, which would be great for our Walrein if we had alignment, and Gligar is basically the main reason why Walrein is also so strong right now. Like, this Pokemon is so free for it. Here they still decided to use a shield just in case it would be something like a Dig, but also something that I did not really expect as well is how strong this Pokemon really can be against something like Lickitung. As you're gonna see here right now, it still does so much damage against the opponent. Like, I have not played Walrein in literally, I think, like 2-3 seasons at this point, and so it's kind of refreshing to play it again. As well as you haven't seen my video about Noctowl and the Galarian Stunfisk, definitely check that one out because it was definitely a team that you kind of want to try out as well. This Pokemon as well, while it's like kind of outdated, it is still so strong. As you're gonna see here as well, we're going to be able to reach another charge move here with our Walrein. We're able to knock out the Lickitung there, as we can now also knock out the opponent's Gligar. What a game this was from the Walrein. Let's move on to the next opponent. Next opponent is going to have a Vigoroth in the lead. Literally perfect for me. I kind of expect that they're going to have something in the back like a Sableye, but they're actually going to swap out into a Mandibuzz, which is going to be better for us because look at this. We're going to have a great answer for this, but sadly, because I expected a Sableye, I was not too sure on what I really want to swap into, and so I swapped into the wrong not really in the wrong Pokemon, but into the Pokemon a little bit too slow, what I wanted to say. So this maybe would have been like a Dark Pulse or whatever, so I rather decided to use a shield here, but we're still going to get out of this matchup then with quite a lot of health left, which can be kind of crucial as well, as we can get to some more moves against the Pokemon that's coming in now, which is going to be the Vigoroth. We can reach the Earthquake in time. This is going to do a ton of damage if it would connect, and they decide to use a shield, which is actually better for me because we hardwall them with our lead, and they decide to go into their final Pokemon, and this is going to be a Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff can be pretty tough for this team, as you might expect, because we have 2 Pokemon that are going to be quite weak to it, but as you can see here, we can still reach another charge move. The Hydro Cannon is coming through, and this hopefully puts them into range where a 1 Night Slash is going to be enough to knock them out. Let's find out here. They decide, of course, to go for the Icy Wind, but we can go for another fast move here and go for the Night Slash now. Hopefully it's going to be enough to knock them out. It is not, but we can try to farm them down, especially with the boost now. Boost is coming in, we had +1 with that, and I think this kind of really helped us win this game now, because now, of course, Body Slam is going to be double resisted, Rock Slide would be single resisted. We're going to have a great time here against the opponent, and we can go for another Night Slash, which is going to put them into counter down range. Next opponent coming up, we're going to have Annihilape in the lead. Annihilape in the lead is actually kind of nice for you. What I at least kind of wanted to do, at least during those battles, is I kind of really want to play it risky. What I mean with that is I just decide to no shield and I decide to go for the big move immediately. Does it really work out for me? It does not in the first battle, but honestly, we still have an advantage. We still have the shield advantage, which the opponent doesn't have there. And so what I can do is I can let this move go through as well, which is going to be another Night Slash. And now I'm forced to use a shield, but it is what it is. But I can force them as well, I think, by going for 2 Night Slashes in order to like try to force the final shield from them or get the knockout here. So let's see what the opponent does. They decide to use a shield here, which is kind of great because I can swap into my Feraligatr. I'm going to use a shield here again, I think, because... Oh, never mind. Because I can take a Night Slash anyway, it doesn't really matter. But as you can see, we're going to have a ton of energy. Crunch is coming in clutch. Yeah, I really enjoyed Crunch on Feraligatr, by the way. While I'll never get the debuff because I'm just so unlucky with all the moves that have like kind of a luck factor towards it. Like, that's why I hate to play something with Scald as well, because I never get the debuff. Like, I literally never get the debuff. It's still going to be the better move to have coverage for like something like a Lantern. Lantern can be tricky for this team. So I really enjoy this for this Pokemon. Here I'm kind of forced to go into my own Annihilape, but I will still be able to reach another Night Slash, which is going to be crucial, as now we're going to end up with a shield advantage for the final matchup, which is against a Bastiodon. This might be a little bit tricky, right? But Earthquake, even though it got nerfed, is still going to be super effective and still going to do a ton of damage, as well as Shadow variant as well. It does not take the knockout, but as you can see, we can still reach another Icicle Spear, and this is going to be able to take a VKO. And this was the first set that I played with this team, and it was an immediate 5-0, so definitely a very solid team to run. Let's move on to the next battle. Next opponent, Emolga here. This is going to be one of the worst possible Pokemon to encounter, because you see here we have 3 Pokemon that's going to be weak against the type coverage of the opponent. Honestly, I feel like that Zapdos right now would be a great Pokemon to play, so maybe I'm gonna take a look at Shadow Zapdos eventually as well again. Because like, if you take a look at the meta right now, we're going to have in the lead quite often Gligar, where actually everything is going to be resisted on Shadow Zapdos or Emolga. Then you're going to have something like Skarmory, you're going to have something like the Mantine, you're going to have something like the Annihilape. So like Emolga / Zapdos are really great in the current meta, so definitely something that might be interesting to take a look at for this channel as well. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see a Zapdos showcase. I think Zapdos is just a little bit cooler. So yeah, let me know in the comment section. Here we're still going to be able to go for another charge move, but I'm a little bit scared, because if the opponent is going to run something like, I don't know, maybe something like an Outrage, it would be a little bit of a trickier one, but they swap out at the same time basically as I swap out, and we are going to end up now with our Annihilape against the opponent's Ferrothorn. And this is lovely, because now we can overfarm basically perfectly here, so I can go for a Shadow Ball, knock them out, and then I might still be able to reach a Night Slash, which would most likely seal the deal, and it does get to the Night Slash here. It's going to connect, it's going to be enough as well to knock them out, and we can move on to the next opponent. Next opponent, we're going to have a Mantine here in the lead. Horrible lead for us. We can swap out into our Feraligatr immediately. I have no idea why they swapped out into a Bastiodon. Like, honestly, don't ask me, please. I have no idea. It doesn't make sense. We will take it, of course. Like, they can avoid my lead matchup, but like, we can avoid now the matchup for our Pokemon in the back with this Pokemon here, so it's going to be great. It's even going to be better because they use a shield. You know why it's so much better? Because now they just allow me to farm up a million energy while still maintaining switch advantage, which is just absolutely wild. We basically add another Hydro Cannon, which is kind of mad as well. And so the Hydro Cannon is coming through, going to knock them out. They're gonna go back into the Mantine. They can go for the Crunch. I just hope for the debuff. But yeah, 30% chance it is not going to happen here. And so we're still going to end up in a scenario where we were able to realign ourselves. We're going to have the opponent insanely low, basically in range for 1 Night Slash. But also, yeah, we're going to still have the same amount of shields as the opponent as they swap out into the Whiscash. And this is one thing that I really want to point out as well, why I think Walrein is so great in the current meta. there's so many Scald users. There's so many Pokemon that are relying on water type damage because most of the water type Pokemon, they're actually kind of neutral for it. Here, as you can see, a Pokemon that takes neutral damage from water type damage. And so even defensively, the typing that the Walrein has is just really great to play. So yeah, but again, like I know a lot of people would like to see a showcase for Lapras as well. I feel like it's very tricky to play Lapras. Lapras is just a little bit more clunky, which is a little bit trickier. And also the Ice type coverage here of Icicle Spear is just so great for this Pokemon, which helps out quite a bit. Oh, look at this, one of the worst possible lead matchups again here, which is going to be the Charger Bug. So, you see here also like a lot of matchups that you don't really want to face with the team. It's not always like kind of fairy tale where you're going to only encounter what you want to encounter. So, what do I do against this Pokemon? I go up to quite a lot of energy and then decide to go for the bait. You can just go straight Night Slash basically the entire way through, and you're still going to end up in a scenario where you can definitely maybe not win the matchup itself, but you're definitely going to have a great time for it. Here, I also thought of going for a CMP type, but I decided to go against it as I decided, oh no, actually this is CMP type, is it? I thought I was going against it, but it is actually a CMP type. Night Slash is coming through. This is going to be great for us because like this, what we can do now is we can go into our Walrein and go for the full farm down. Why do I do this? Because there's currently a very common team with a Lantern in the back, and so I need the Earthquake. But also this team has usually a Superior, not really, but usually a Mandibuzz in the back, so I can own to align myself, and this is going to be tough. I have to catch a move now, and I am going to be able to catch a move, like literally. They have a Water and Electric type in the back, and they have a Grass type against two of our Water type Pokemon here, and we're able to farm them down here. I need to get some more damage, so they're definitely in range now for the Earthquake, which is super important for me as well. This is going to connect, gonna easily put them into farm down, or like in basically Earthquake range, and if you're gonna be able to get this move off, it would be lovely. Can we get this move off? We can, and we can win against a complete hard counter team. Like, if you think about it, everything was hard walled, it doesn't matter, we can still win and we can move on to the next opponent. Annihilape in the mirror here, again in the lead. Again, what I would do here is I just go for the Shadow Ball, and I just gonna completely play it ballsy. I'm just going to let this move go through. If they want to go for the Shadow Ball, go for it. They don't. They usually always go for Night Slash. And because they expect me to go for the Night Slash, they sometimes maybe just don't want to use a shield. But they're going to have in the back now a Lantern, and this is basically the weak point of this team. Lantern is a little bit tricky, especially if the Annihilape is gone. You kind of want to bait out the Lantern with your Feraligatr in this team and try to punish them still with the Shadow Claw and Crunch combination. But as you can see here, it is still going to be a tough one. We're going to be able to go for another Night Slash, though, against them on a CMP type, it looks like, which is very important as now we're going to put them into range where Shadow Claw down might be an option. Use Shield, Shadow Claw down, get a ton of energy, might be an option for me. Or I go for a Charge move, both of which is going to be fine, but I decided to go for the Shadow Claw down, and this is only going to be a Surf, so I don't have to use a Shield either. Let's see what's going to be in the back, as it can go for the full farm down. We have two Charge moves stored. It is going to be the Alolan Sand Slash, and with this we can say goodbye, as I can swap out now immediately. I don't have to go for another Charge move, and the opponent forfeits, as I know one Earthquake would be enough to knock them out. Next opponent, we're going to have the Lickitung in the lead. This is going to be lovely for us, as we can go for the Night Slash. It's kind of exactly where you kind of want to have this Pokemon, as our backline is going to be way weaker against this Pokemon than our lead. We can just try to go for the full farm at this point of time. They basically gave me a free fast move here. They kind of had not the perfect ideal fast move timing there, so we can easily farm them down. And so we have a ton of energy. We are now shields down, but it's going to be okay, like one shield down at least. It's going to be okay because we still have two Pokemon in the back. That's going to be great for us here. The opponent's going to go for the Gligar with the Aerial Ace. I can just go for the Hydro Cannon, force a shield, and align my Walrein later. I'm going to get rid of my Feraligatr. Feraligatr is not worth it for me anymore. So they're going to go for the Aerial Ace. I'm fine with this. This is going to go through. I can now align my Walrein. I have a ton of energy on my Annihilape. And as long as I get rid of the final shield, also Shadow Ball is easily enough to knock them out. Sadly, we're going to see here in the back the Walrein against the opponent's Poliwrath. And so we can go for an Earthquake. The opponent decides to use a shield. I can still go for a Shadow Ball. But we're in a tough spot. We're in a really tough spot to still win this game. We're going to be able to get them kind of low here. But as you're gonna see, I'm forced to use a shield. It is going to be the Icy Wind from the opponent coming through here. We can still try to go ahead and go for a Night Slash in a perfect timing, but I doubt that this is going to be enough for us to still win this game. As you can see here, the opponent is still going to their Gligar. I can still try my best to go for another charge move, but because we're debuffed, this is not going to be enough anymore. And so, sadly, we are not going to be able to take this one. The opponent is going to knock me out, and we can move on to the next opponent. Shadow Victorybell. Literally the worst possible Pokemon here, but luckily they are not running Magical Leaf. I feel like Magical Leaf would have been so much worse for me because charge move pressure would be kinda really bad for me here with my Pokemon that I have in the back. But as you can see here, we can still go ahead and look at the text here, by the way. Victorybell used Power Whip. I doubt that this was actually working, but it is what it is. But we still got them kind of low, which is kind of nice. And we even got them into farmland range for basically any of our Pokemon, which is really great for me. Also, it's really great how strong the Icicle Spear is. I kind of wish that they maybe gonna push Icicle Spear a little bit more and give it a little bit more damage output. I feel like this would be kind of great for this move, but still, it is a lot of fun to play. They can go for another Body Slam here. I don't really care too much about it. Like, go for it. Have fun with that. But yeah, we're still going to be in a okay spot to play this game. Let's see what they're going to have in the back here, if we can still deal with that. We're going to see that the opponent is going to swap back into the Victorybell, allowing us to go for a Night Slash, but this is going to go up against the Bastiodon. And you're going to see me do an interesting play now. I decide to stay in, give them more farm, because I know that the farm doesn't really matter. I still have a shield left, and I kind of need to get them into a range where one Hydro Cannon is enough. Not 2 Hydro Cannon, I need 2 charge moves stored when I get out of this matchup. And this is literally perfectly played by me again, as we can get up to exactly 2 Hydro Cannons. Victorybell, no shot of winning this game anymore. We can get the first one off, we can get the second one off, and we can win this game fairly easily, even though we encountered one of the worst possible Pokemon to encounter for this team. Azumarill on the lead is also very tricky for it, but again, like, we went 12-3 with this team, which is kind of mad for it, so definitely still a very solid team to use. We're going to be able to go for a Shadow Ball here. The opponent is going to have to take this one. Let's see, they're going to decide to actually use a shield, which is a little bit annoying. I decided to swap out, but they swap out at the exact same time, which is kind of wild. Into a Pokemon that I don't really like. It is going to be the Charger Bug. I could have most likely taken that Excel, but of course, a Discharge would have knocked me out. And at least I can go ahead and go for one charge move now. And I could even argue of going for a full farmland if I really wanted to, but I decided to just go for the next charge move straight away. The opponent decides to use a shield. And I was like, this might be my play. And I should go into my Walrein now, to be fair. Because okay, I decided to go into my Annihilape because maybe it's still okay, but a Walrein would have been cool as well to get to an Earthquake. But I tried to maybe let them... they decided to go for a charge move immediately. It's kind of annoying because I kind of want to have them go for one fast move and then I can catch the move. But it is what it is. We can go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball against them, get them kind of low, and see what we can do here with our backline as well. We're going to try to catch a move here from the opponent. It does not work out, but they're going to have a Sableye in the back. This is going to be a very tricky matchup to win for us. Let's see how this is going to go. We can go ahead and go for the Icicle Spear, which is going to do a decent amount of damage here, as the next Icicle Spear is coming through as well. It is going to connect against us, return is going to do a ton of damage, and I'm forced to undercharge this. I need energy on my Annihilape, otherwise I cannot win this. If the opponent gets too much farm with their Azumarill, or like they have already basically too much farm with the Azumarill, there's no way of me winning this game, so we're waiting it out. We try to swap out into the Annihilape, but the opponent knocks me out prior, which is okay for us. But we're sadly not going to be able to reach a charge move, so good game there to the opponent, well played as well by waiting out later on. But let's move on to the final battle of today. So again, if you're still watching at this point, you're definitely the MVPs. Also, if you're still watching, let me know in the comment section if you enjoy this type of videos that are a little bit long. I would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks so much again for 75,000 subscribers on this channel. We're getting close to the 100k, which I would love to hit. Like, honestly, this is like the biggest milestone for me. I don't really care about anything afterwards. I really just want to hit the 100k because you get like the cool play button for this, and it's like kind of nice to see. So would really appreciate it. But otherwise, we're going to see the LilyNiRiain here. We can go back into our Annihilape. We can swap out eventually as well into our own Walrein because we were able to trap the Gligar here. Gligar is still locked in here for a little bit. They're kind of waiting to swap out, but I can still go for another charge move prior, forcing a shield, which can be very crucial for us. Let's see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be a Whiscash, and this is going to be a great matchup. Again, the matchup for us is very, very decent. So we can go for the Icicle Spear, gonna do some decent damage. The opponent is going to decide to go for their own charge move as well. I am going to decide to let this move go through, as this is going to drop my attack, and I don't really like an attack that's dropped for me, so I decided to use a shield here. Mud Bomb is coming through. I tried to swap out. Can we swap out in time before they can go for a charge move? Yes, we can catch the move here, and so we have a ton of energy stored onto our Walrein. We can try to go for another charge move here, and this is going to connect, either get the shield or the knockout. Let's see if this is going to work for us. It's going to get the shield from the opponent as they swap out into the Gligar. They're going to make a very crucial play here as well. What they do is they decide to undercharge quite a bit here, and I can now go ahead and go for for another Night Slash. But can we win the CMP tie against both of the opponent's Pokemon with the Walrein? Walrein is kind of bulky, it's kind of bulky as well, so it might have not the highest attack stat, but still has a higher attack stat than the other two Pokemon, so we can go for the easy cleanup at the end. And honestly, here you're gonna see now as well, again, the games that I played, so you see, like, it's not like faked or anything like this. Got a nice 15 games in here with a 12 and 3 1, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.